Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Targeting Winners College Football Betting Podcast. I am Tim, your host. With me, as usual, is Darren and Peter. Boys, how you doing this week?
Good, man.
Not
Thank
too
you.
shabby. Yeah, not too shabby at all.
All right. Good to see a tornado didn't sweep your house away, Darren. That's always good.
It did
news.
not. It's rare that we get it, but yeah, apparently one went through area known as Clifton Park, which is where my wife currently works. So it took me about 20 minutes to get a hold of her before I found out she was good. Lost power for maybe like 15 or 20 seconds, but sun's out, wind's gone, it's not raining.
All right.
Living the dream.
Well, the long national nightmare is over. The story that's been rocking the country for the last 3 months, they've reached a memo of understanding. Of course, I'm talking about Brendan Sorsby. I guess he's going to go to the supplemental draft, keep all of his cash. Darren, let's start with you. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, a lot, but that's not what we're here for today. But yeah, at first I was kind of like sympathetic to the dude because, you know, we talk about in our bankroll management show, you know, if you need help, get it, because obviously addiction of any kind is awful. But then stuff started to, because we kept talking, oh, should we talk about it? And we're like, no, there's got to be more. And just every time we met, like more and more was coming out. I just didn't like the fact that he was doing this for 4 years. Apparently some of it while he was not of legal betting age, wiring money across state lines to his friends to bet on his behalf. And then after these 4 years, decides to sue the NCAA saying that they're not looking out for his mental health. And that's when I was just like, bro, I am all pro you sitting and not taking another snap in college football. It's like, have some accountability. You know, I'm happy for the outcome, and I do still hope that he does get the help he needs, because I didn't think that throwing him back out there was good for his mental health. I saw a lot of people, that's like putting an alcoholic back behind the bar if that was their job. You know, I just was not on his side as more and more stuff was coming out. I posted a picture in the Targeting Winners Facebook group on all 5 of those guys dressed in full clown gear, because that was probably the worst 21-minute video I've ever seen. You know, and then Texas Tech Twitter, yeah, well, Hammond's our guy. Yeah, well, you don't have a choice, bro, because some law firm decided to make you cave like a bunch of little bitches. Now you're going with Will Hammond. So, yeah, glad it's over. It was the right decision, and it's sad that he's the one that supposedly was like, yeah, I'm not going through this anymore, and then Tech was like, yeah, keep your money, we're kind of kicking you to the curb anyway. So I don't know, glad it's over. It's the right call. They're still a good team, you know, to put this in for what we do on this show here. They're still probably going to be in the Big 12 title game regardless, probably a playoff team. So Tim, I wouldn't worry about your bet. You certainly at least get a shot to hedge that, I would think. But yeah, very glad it's over, and we can talk about our own legal gambling bets that we're making. So
right.
Let's get to it.
All right. Well, we're going to go in.
Pete, what do you got to say? Because I know when these topics come up, you're like your hat's about to blow off with the steam like in a cartoon. So I'm waiting. I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good. It's not good for the sport. I mean, when somebody, what do you wager, over 9,000 bets, over $90,000 over 4 years, 40 bets on a team he was on at the time, at least, that's concerning, right? That's bad for the sport, bad for the game, bad for the NCAA, bad for everybody involved. So yeah, I feel I have empathy for him, and if he does have a gambling addiction problem, which it appears that he does, he needs to get help. For sure. But they certainly could not let this go on. I mean, we talked about it a few weeks ago, just from the, you know, when it first came out, and that's my perspective, period, on any of this. This cannot happen, right? You cannot be soft on this. This is a big deal, right? Because that's a significant, I mean, I don't know how anybody could make a bet on anything comfortably if this is going on in the backdrop, right? So it's a big deal. So it needs to get cleaned up. So yeah, he cannot play there again. He needs to move along and get help. And so I think we've gotten to the right spot here with where this needed to end. So that's good. So yeah, I don't know where. I mean, So I think the saga with him is largely over, right? Texas Tech is not going to look for any of that 5 to 6 back. So congratulations, you've got some money. But they need to be careful that this isn't happening elsewhere, and it doesn't happen again. Right. And so they really need to be keeping an eye on this. So that's my thoughts. But I mean, it really hurts the sanctity of the game and the sanctity of betting at all if this is happening. So this can't continue. So those are my thoughts. I'm glad it's cleaned up. I'm glad he's not playing. He needs just to move along, and we'll, I guess, start fresh. So those are my
9,000 bets over 3 years.
Over the 4 years, more than 9,000 wagers, $90,000 bet.
Damn. Even Parlay Paul is like, he needs to slow down.
Dude, Tim had that many futures last year.
Exactly.
Well, you don't know. I've been talking to him. I got his cell phone here now.
Wonder if he ever listened to the show. Probably not, but it'd be cool if he did.
That would be cool. Let's have him on. He's got nothing else to do right now.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
as far as college, it's over. But do you think he gets drafted?
I wouldn't touch him. I wouldn't draft him.
I mean, can he play in the NFL with all this loom? I mean, damn. I mean,
there's people that have done worse that are currently playing in the NFL. Supposedly, he's having a pro
worse.
day.
You know, plenty of wife beaters and all that. And this, I'm
but
sure,
I mean, he's supposedly he's having a pro day, and like somebody from every single team is showing up. So you know, if there are only like 4 or 5 teams that are like, no, I don't want the baggage. You know, I would understand that. But to tell me that every single team is sending somebody to look at this kid tells me somebody's going to take a chance on him.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I don't know. Every time there's a close game, and every game he plays in, everyone's gonna be checking online, checking out.
That's what I didn't understand. Like, best that redneck judge who apparently decided that he retired 12 years ago is going to come out and rule in the kid's favor. How is that helping his mental health? Every time that dude threw an incomplete pass, I mean, you could just feel the weight on his shoulders, like multiplying times 10. I don't see how that was going to benefit him in the least, but. You know, when you're an NFL team, you can put him on a practice squad. You can, there's a bunch of different things you can do with him where he's a minimal risk. I mean, let's face it, if you can play, owners and general managers are going to overlook a lot of stuff. So,
right. But what about the commissioner? I mean, you got to protect the shield.
I understand that. But then again, he suspended Ray Rice for 2 games for beating the snot out of his wife in an elevator. I mean, this dude bet $30 on the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
But that's not directly impacting the product, right? This is directly impacting the product. Yeah.
That's more of a PR thing. This is like, hey, is this game legit? Are we watching WWE or are we watching the NFL?
And that's the concern. That's exactly the concern.
I wonder if it might. I think it might actually be over. I think eventually, I wouldn't be surprised if Goodell steps in and says something's got to happen before you can play.
Right, but he can prove that he went to rehab. He's completed this. He's completed that. Suppose he's got all these precautions on his phone. He's basically, you might as well have an ankle monitor on for God's sakes. But yeah, it's up to him to prove that he's rehabilitated. Because I'm sure if 32 teams are going, they're all going to want to talk to him and kind of get a read on the kid to see if they think he's really, headed in the right direction.
Well, we'll see if they have any of our targeting winner shorts in his algorithm on his phone. We'll see what happens if they're bugging his phone and see what's going on there. So
yeah, I doubt they blocked that. I'm sure he has access.
So, all right, well, let's jump into the MAC here. We're going to start off with Akron. They're at plus 3,000 to win the conference. The over/under is 4.5 wins. Darren, let's start with you with the MAC. How you feeling about
All right. I know you guys are from here originally. You know who QB1 is, most likely. SUNY Albany's own Reese Poffenbarger, baby. Yes, last year, Drew Mestemaker's backup. The year before that, I believe he was Cam Ward's backup. He was actually kind of good at his time in Albany. So if he gets the job and is successful, I like the skill pieces around him. Jordan Gain, who rushed for 1,000 yards, is back. 2 of their top 3 wide receivers come back. Couple starters on the O-line are back. Defense is unfortunately a concern, and we're probably going to say that a dozen times going through these teams here, such as life in the MAC. 9 of the top 10 tacklers are gone. but maybe there's a little bit of motivation. Their APR restriction has been lifted. Apparently, they are going to class, so they're getting
Yay.
full practices. They're bowl eligible. Life is good. What's not good is this schedule. 3 of your non-conference games, road tilts against Wake Forest and Minnesota. UNLV comes to Akron. And they've got Ohio, Western Michigan, Central Michigan, Miami of Ohio in there. They've got some tough ones there. So their success is probably going to be based if Poffenbarger produces or not. That 4.5 I see on DraftKings is juiced to the over. I kind of lean under here. I see DraftKings is 28-1. You got 3,000. You got 30-1 there at Hard Rock.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not touching that. I think there's really only like 2 teams that can win this conference. But the under is intriguing just because it's a little bit of plus money. But no futures bet on the Zips for me.
Peter.
Yeah, Darren touched on quite a bit of it here. I mean, this is an encouraging story, and I think it's a team that is trending in the right direction, which is pretty good. So Joe Moorhead inherited a pretty difficult situation here. Team didn't really have an identity, and I think that is absolutely changing. I mean, this is no longer an automatic win. I think the offense looks more organized. You already mentioned the quarterback. I do like some of the skill players, so I think we are seeing a team that's kind of evolving in the right direction. These players compete every week, which is positive. So, could they become a dangerous team in time? Quite possibly. The issue right now is depth, right? Depth. They've lost a lot of players, so that is a bit of a challenge. And as Darren mentioned, the schedule is not doing the heck of a lot of favors, right? This is a team that is progressing the right direction, but is hitting a schedule that is just not very friendly. Could they win 5 games? Yeah, I mean, I think they could do that. I mean, if they could get to a bowl, if they could get to 6 wins, that would be a tremendous year for this program, right? I mean, in terms of like where this program's come from to where they're going, if they can somehow get to 6 wins and get to a bowl, it'd be huge for this program. I don't know if they can do it, right, because of this schedule. Do I think they can get to 5? It's possible. So it'll be an interesting team to see play. I am intrigued by the offensive side of the ball. We'll see what the defense can do on their side. But this is a team that's becoming competent again, and I'm kind of excited to see where they can go moving forward. So, yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah. I think anytime you're bringing back a 1,000-yard rusher, you've got a shot. And there's a couple teams that do have that scenario unfolding for them. So,
yeah, I was leaning over myself, and I was like, yeah, too risky, I think, when I get to the gritty of it. So, all right, we're going to go on. We got Ball State. I think Parley Paul's old man's alma mater. They're plus 10,000 to win the conference, over under of 3.5 wins. Peter, we'll start with you this time with Ball State.
Yeah, that 3.5 is probably right in the ballpark here, right? So I think they're entering 2026 with very realistic expectations, and that's probably healthy for the program. Not that they're high expectations, they're just realistic, right? This team is not going to win the conference. They're not trying to win the conference. This team is really trying to build a foundation, and I think that is what they need to be doing right now, right? This was a difficult roster situation that was inherited, and depth just hasn't been there, is not there yet. They've got a ways to go here to build that out. So, I mean, looking at 3-4 wins this year is, probably likely. 4, I think, would be successful season for this team, right? At the end of the day, that would be a step in the right direction. I am intrigued to see what a 2027 will look like with this team, because I think, once again, this is a team that's moving in the right direction. So this is kind of laying foundational bricks this year is what I think you're going to see happening. And so if they can get 4 wins, if they can get a signature win, if they can get an upset here, I think that'd be very motivating for this team and really good for the program. And I'd like to see that for this team, but I wouldn't expect much more out of, maybe 4 wins. So those are my thoughts.
Darren, over to you.
Yeah, I watched this team a couple times last year, and I think once I became physically ill watching this team try and execute an offense. So, yeah, I don't have high hopes overall, but what I do like, I want to see how this Keldrick Luster kid is supposed to be at QB. Apparently he is a dual threat guy. Ball State was pretty much a running team. They had all kinds of issues throwing the ball. So hopefully this kid can help out with that. If they can, like Pete said, I'd be interested to see what this offense could look like. I mean, they got a couple of their running backs returning. 3 stars on the O-line are coming back. I mean, you can only go up offensively. I mean, if it wasn't for UMass being in this conference, Ball State would have been the worst offensive team pretty much in every category. But yeah, anytime you're bringing in a dual threat QB and handing him an offense that was historically awful, I mean, I do have some type of optimism there. Defensively, I don't have any optimism. I only one starter coming back. There's 138 teams in FBS. They're 136th in defensive returning production. So a ton of question marks here to put my money down on a win total. The 3.5, I see it's juiced to the over. I could see that, but again, much like with Akron, we don't know what we're getting out of the quarterback position. That makes it very difficult, even in a conference where a lot of these teams are pretty much equal, what to do here. So I have nothing, but if they go 4-8, I would consider that a successful season.
Successful season right there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the ceiling, boys. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's depressing for them. Let's move on to Ball State plus 1,600 to win the conference. Their over-under is 4.5 wins as well. Peter, BG, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough team in this conference to handicap because I really don't know what to expect. And if you look across the sports books, I don't think they know what to expect either, right? So year two, right? So, year one, inherited players, whatever, pass. So becoming, Eddie George's roster here. So the issue is, yeah, there should be upside with that, but I think there's also some downside, right? So I'm not quite sure how to weigh that out. I think being a finance guy, we talk about things like variance and standard deviation, right? I think there's a lot of variance around that number. Like I really don't even know where to go here with the win total. I mean, that 4.5 feels in the ballpark. I mean, I think their most likely record is maybe 5-7 or something like that. This is not a championship team for sure. Are they capable of ruining someone else's season? Potentially, right? And if they continue to gel through the season later in the year, could they be dangerous? Could they do something that changes this conference or creates turbulence in this conference? They could, not winning it themselves, but beating somebody they shouldn't, possibly. So, it's a team that I'm going to watch this season, not because I expect them to do a heck of a lot this year, but I'm curious to see how the improvement comes and if it actually comes. So from my perspective, probably a 5-17 or something like that. And it'll be interesting to see how they improve through the year. So those are my thoughts.
And Darren.
Yeah, I like this team a little bit. I know it sounds weird since I bet under their win total last year and cashed with like a couple weeks to go. Thanks, Eddie George. But like Pete said, second year, I kind of like what this team has. I mean, they've got a quarterback transfer from Oregon, so that certainly is a step up from whatever they had last year. Their lead rusher, Austin Dendy, is back, so that certainly helps. O-line, obviously a question. So, I mean, me, whenever the O-line and or D-line is a concern, I'm not like a big fan of that. But defensively, their top 2 sack leaders are back. Their second leading tackler is back. They might actually have a decent defense. And as I was looking through these teams, that's kind of rare in this conference. So I think with a potential stud I don't want to say stud. I've never seen this guy play, but I guess anybody would back up Dante Moore, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, the road schedule is not friendly. You go to Nebraska, you go to Iowa State, Miami, Toledo, Western Michigan. They're probably losing all those. But their home games, conference, they're all winnable. I mean, so that's 4 right off the bat. Yeah, I have in my notes a lean to the over here. That being said, I think 16-1 is way too low for that to sniff anything. I mean, 30-1. All right, maybe. I probably still wouldn't bet it, but I think that number's way out of whack. But yeah, I lean to the over here. Again, uncertainty at QB. I didn't throw any money down, but
yeah, I was thinking the same thing. One thing is there'll be a stark decrease in jet sweeps from the tight end now that we're 2 years away from that guy. He's in the NFL, correct?
Hopefully. He frustrates. As much as we love weeknight MAC stuff, there were guys on there that I was like, if I could hit you with a tree, I probably would. I
Well,
just like, I understand that, but you know what? I put a little note here on the MAC. You know, when we all started watching college football, the MAC was just like offensively godlike.
Yes.
I looked at some stats. So last year, and we'll get back in, this only takes a second. 2025, last year, only one team averaged more than 30 points a game, and that was 30.8, and that was Toledo. You only have to go back to 2020 when this was a 12-team conference, 8 teams averaging 31 points a game or more, with 3 of those teams averaging 41 points a game or more. What happened to our MAC, fellas? What happened?
Ground and pound.
I would guess the portal, right?
I almost am tearing up. I'm getting verklempt.
Yeah.
It's just it's so sad to see.
What could have been.
That really feels like a portal problem, right? That you're losing your best
I
players
agree,
over and
totally.
over again, right? Which really, really sucks. Yeah.
Yep. Develop these guys. They do well. They're gone before the
Yep.
sucked.
Let's go trucking up to Buffalo, plus 1750 to win the MAC. The over-under win total is 6.5. Peter, we'll go with you this time. What's up with Buffalo?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I mean, to me, this is a team that generally has been pretty stable, which I like. So I think that Pete's done a nice job of on the short term of creating a team that I think it is what it should be in this conference, right? They're physical, they're organized, and they're tough to play against. That makes a lot of sense. The problem with this team, though, is they're in a conference that I think is relatively crowded at the top. I mean, I'm interested to see what Darren thinks about some of these teams as we continue forward, because he mentioned a little bit ago he thinks there's 2 teams that can win this conference. Generally agree, but I think the top is a little crowded. Like, you can make a case probably for maybe Western, Toledo, maybe Ohio Central, maybe Miami. I don't know, but all 5 of those teams are above Buffalo, right? So I think the problem with Buffalo is that they're not going to break through that crowd very effectively. So I think they're a stable team, a good team, a solid team, can be a dangerous team for sure. But I think there's just better teams in this conference, which is going to be a problem for them. So I think the defense will be solid. The offense should continue to improve. And they don't generally beat themselves, which is good. So I think 6 wins is probably realistic. 7 wins would not shock me at all. Anything beyond that would be excellent. But I really don't see this being a championship team in this conference, simply because there are better teams, which we really haven't talked about yet, but they're coming soon. So, but this team's, a solid team, just in a conference where they don't have much of a shot, I think. Those are my thoughts.
Tough game September 3rd against Albany. Good. Think of that game there, Darren.
Is it at Albany? Oh, maybe I'll go. I don't know.
There you go.
It's been a while since I've been down there for a sporting event, but yeah, Pete hit a lot of this on the head. Defensively, a pretty solid ball club. But again, we talk about losing players when you have a good year. Well, they had a good defense last year. Well, they lost their defense coordinator. So now my first question is, what's this defense going to look like? Is the new guy going to come in and try and keep things the same if he feels he has the personnel to do so? Or is he going to try and do his own thing, and try and get a head coaching job somewhere? I have no idea. Other side of the ball, the quarterback looks to be a freshman in Jason Wright. Your top rusher's gone. Your top 2 receivers are gone. 4 of your starting offensive linemen are gone. And your depth is gone too. You're 135th in offensive returning production here. I don't know even if this defense plays at the same level that they can do enough to help this offense here. I thought the schedule's not terrible. I looked at this and I'm like, wow, 5.5. That seems kind of high, especially with the juice to the over. But the schedule's not anything difficult. But despite all that, with the defensive questions with the new coordinator, a freshman at QB, a slight lean to the under. But Pete is correct. This team is solid. They don't seem to beat themselves. If they're a bowl team, I wouldn't be shocked. But I'm not putting my money on them either way. And I think the 18-1 is too low.
I agree.
Yeah. A lot of these, yeah. I mean, I was actually in the under myself. I'm looking at the schedule, Penn State, FIU, Toledo. They got Robert Morris and Albany and UMass, I guess.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, I could see where it would be juiced to the over. And Pete's spot on. Those 5 teams he mentioned about as winning it, they're all like 7-1 or less.
Yep.
But there's just, it's the MAC. Every team is going to have holes. I just think like 3 of those 5 teams, I think there's enough question marks where I don't think they're going to be there. But the last week brings some intrigue, and maybe one of my two teams gets knocked out because of that, because they play each other on the last week of the season. Good job scheduling, people.
That's
Right.
That's excellent.
We'll get into that eventually.
All right, Central Michigan plus 750 to win the conference. The over-under on this team is 6.5 wins. Darren, take it away. Central Michigan.
Yeah, it looks like we might have two QBs going at the same time here for CMU. Angel Flores and Jaden Glasser both bring a little something different to this offense. So I see a scenario where they could both be used every game. Their top wide receiver, Langston Lewis, is back. They got a Liberty transfer, Vaughn Blue, to be their lead rusher. O-line looks good. And again, stop me if you've heard this before. I have questions with this defense. I mean, they were never a great defensive team from what I can remember. But, 131st in returning defensive production. Anybody that I do have coming back is on the D-line, which actually looks like it's by far the deepest position group on that side of the ball. But the linebackers are all going to be new. Both their starting safeties need to be replaced. And again, sometimes, what they say, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. I don't know if that's the case here. In the MAC, it might not matter. And there are some weapons at the skill position here, but I think the 6.5 is a little bit generous. I mean, I see 6 games. 6 games that they can lose without even trying, which means they would need to, then they're not going to hit the over. So I do have a lean to the under here.
Peter.
Yeah, I mean, Central was really close to becoming my official wager here on the over. So, in fact, if Western Michigan didn't exist, I might have played this. I would say probably is a strong word. My two issues with it, Darren hit on beautifully. Number one, 2 quarterbacks always makes me nervous. And number 2, that defense was very putrid at times, which concerns me. Now, will it get better? I expect it will be better. God knows it better be better, right? But at the end of the day, those 2 things kind of made me a little nervous about this team. I do like their head coach. I do like their continuity. I do like their roster for the most part, right? They're so it's certainly not an elite team. This is a MAC team, but they can absolutely, be competitive in this conference. So that's fine. I think we tend to overcomplicate sometimes things that sometimes as bettors. It's a good team that will compete in this conference. Now their schedule is not all that friendly, so that's kind of a problem. And I already mentioned the other 2 issues I have with them, which Darren said, right? 2 quarterbacks and the defense is an issue. So to me, that's kind of the issue with them. This is certainly a dangerous team week to week in this conference. So it's no party playing them. So we'll talk about my bet coming up in a little bit, and I'm not excited about them playing each other, but at the end of the day, I do think that, could this team make a run to be playing in Detroit at the end of the year? Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see how the 2 quarterbacks play out. And that defense has got to be better. If that defense is not better, well, then forget it. So we'll see how that plays out. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a late birthday present in late September there when they go to Miami. I think that'd be a nice little birthday gift for me if they were to pull out a win there. That'd be great.
You're better off using the Brendan Sorsby defense and saying that not dating Sydney Sweeney would cause you irreparable and revocable harm. I mean, just saying, if you're hoping for a miracle, you might as well go for the best one you can come up with.
Absolutely. So we're going to go on. Eastern Michigan plus 1,400, over under 5.5 wins. Peter, I think we'll start with you this time. Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, it's a team that always means a little bit something to me because I did teach here for a couple of years. So it is a team that I'd like to see do well. And this is a team that, has been good at times. This is a team that steps up at times and overachieves, right? So I think that does say something about the coaching. I think that says something about the players they get. They're consistent, which is good. And I think that's what their head coach does really well. Is he's consistent with a group of players that aren't exactly setting the world on fire, which is a really good thing. So they're never going to have the most talented roster, but I don't think that he needs that because he maximizes talent, which is a really good thing. So it's become their identity. They're a disciplined team. They play physical football, smart football. They don't have all right. So the issue, ceiling, depth, right? These are major issues that they have. I mean, for them. Once again, bowl upside. I mean, when I taught there, I used to have some of the players come through my classes and I would talk to them. And for them, for Eastern, that's kind of what the target usually is anyway, is a bowl, right? If they can get to a bowl, it's great. Like, they're thrilled. For the most part, the program's happy. The players are happy. They can get 6 wins, which is probably most likely here, 6-6, something like that. They'd probably get into a bowl, and they would be, I think they would be happy with that, and I think they should be happy with that. So playing meaningful football in November would be a good thing for this team. I think they're certainly capable of it. However, right, depth and other things are likely to get in the way. So those are my thoughts.
Darren.
Bro, I love this team, man. This was the second bet I had listed, but I'm trying to stay with one futures bet in the G6 shows, just because I just don't want to suffer through potentially subpar teams and have my money on them. But I really like what this team's going to a bowl game, man. They're getting 6 wins. I'm calling it right now. My second bet, which I did not make, I am leaning to the over of the 5.5 here. It is juice, but I don't care. This team's going to a bowl game. Listen, we talk about returning production quite a bit. This team brings back more people than anybody else in the MAC, and they're actually 24th overall. That's unheard of, a MAC school being that high. You've got an experienced QB in Noah Kim. You got your top 2 receivers coming back. One's a wide receiver, Nick Devereaux. The other's your tight end, Josh Long. You do lose a 1,000-yard rusher, but you bring in a power 4 guy to replace him, Braden Bennett from Virginia Tech. A couple starters back on the O-line. I love what this offense can do. The reason why I took this bet off and went with the other one, which we're going over later, this defense is still crap. I mean, they're bringing back a lot, but if you have a crap defense, I'd rather see you kind of do a refresh here. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. They're actually bringing back. Oh yeah, no, they are bringing back a lot. Top 3 tacklers are coming back. But again, you give up 30 points a game. You're last in the MAC in rush yards. This is the wrong conference to not be able to stop the run, because that's all anybody does in this godforsaken conference. Again, they can't get to the quarterback. Only 15 sacks last year. But this schedule leads me to believe that if they can figure out anything on defense, this could be one of the best offenses in the MAC. I mean, you're not going to win at Michigan State or Wisconsin. Probably not at Ohio, and certainly not at Western Michigan. You get Toledo at home, team I'm not super high on. I don't know if they have enough to beat them, but not high on them. You also have a neutral site game against the aforementioned Central Michigan playing in Detroit. So technically that's not even a road game or a home game, I guess. But I think Central Michigan is certainly beatable. So I just love, from the one side of the ball, what this team is bringing back. A strong lean to this over 5.5 here for these guys.
Oh, okay. Well, let's keep this thing trucking along. Kent State, the Fighting Edelmans, plus 6,000 to win the conference, over under 3.5 wins. Whew. Pete, let's start with you at Kent State.
Yeah, might as well be plus 600,000 at this point. I mean, this is a team that I'd say rebuilding is a generous statement. This is a team that probably needs to restart. They're certainly not in the championship conversation. They're not in a bowl conversation. They're not competitive. They've got talent issues. They got depth issues. They have issues all over the place, which I think is becoming more of an issue for them recruiting, because they have all kinds of other issues going on. Retention's a problem because people are leaving, because there's issues. So, yeah, I mean, this is a program that I think is in a bit of trouble, and probably needs to look at perhaps going a different direction. So we'll see what happens here, but I think they are definitely in need of a major rebuild that might not happen under this regime. So I wouldn't expect much out of them. If they win 3 wins, if they win 3 games, then great. That would be progress. I think 4 would be tremendous. I mean, and I don't expect that to happen. So those are my thoughts.
Darren.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with some of that, but let's remember that this was a 5-win team last year. And yeah, I agree. There's no shot of them sniffing a conference title here. But then again, this is also a team that the 2 years prior to that went like 1-11 and 0-12. So for them to win 1 combined game over 2 years, then get to 5 last year, they got rid of Kenny Burns. They brought in Carney. I mean, you saw a different Kent State team in 2025 than what you saw in 2023 and 2024. Now, that being said, are they going to improve on that 5 and challenge for a bowl? No, because outside of their QB coming back, who now all these other teams have tape on, which they did not have last year, which is why they probably did better than expected. yeah, I mean, I would expect a little regression here. I do like the offense though. They have that one guy, what's his name? Darius Clark. He's like the kick returner, but he caught like 3 passes, 2 of them for touchdowns. One was like 87 yards. I mean, there's potential with this offense. But yeah, the defense is still a huge. I mean, even though they won 5 games last year, which was great for them, statistically, this was just still a very bad football team. The defense just looks like it's going to be bad again, and I don't think the offense will be able to keep up. The only worst defensive unit was obviously our friends at UMass. And they set themselves up with some brutal road games. I mean, you're going to South Carolina, you're going to Ohio State, you're going to South Florida. Bro, those are going to be like some 49-point spreads. I don't even know if I want to sniff that, but the 3.5 feels about right. I don't have a lean or a bet on these guys, but where they came from, 1 win in 2 years to get to 5, I like it. But yeah, Cinderella, it's midnight, guys. I think we're dropping back to the Kent State we all knew and did not love in 2023 and 2024.
Okay. UMass 25,000 plus 25,000 to win the conference. 2.5 wins is the over under. This is Darren's favorite team here. Looks like. Let's start with TD. Here we go.
This was my third bet because I remember texting you guys, I think I'm going to bet UMass over 2.5 because they play 2 schools I don't think I've ever heard of, and they can get those. Yeah, I mean, I watched a few UMass games last year. Yeah, they were bad, but they weren't like god awful. Their quarterback play was terrible. I think that's been fixed with William Watson, the Virginia Tech transfer. I get a Power 4 guy coming to UMass. Yeah, baby. Yeah, this offense was terrible. It can only get better. You got a couple tight ends returning. That's about it as far as the skill position goes. And like most of these schools, these guys you're bringing in are FCS transfers. The problem with them was defensively, they got banged up a lot. And that's probably from being on the field 57 minutes a game, but they actually had some decent defensive players. One guy, the Joshua Nobles, their D lineman, he missed the whole season. They had a cornerback, TJ McGee, who missed 9 games. Yeah, their leading tackler's back, but their starting safeties are back. They got 2 games in there. Tim, you got that schedule up there? I can't read those, but that's that second and third game, very much winnable. But then I thought, if they're 2-1, which I honestly do think they will be, do I want to sit through 9 more weeks hoping that they spring an upset somewhere? And the answer to that was a resounding no. So that bet came off the board. But if you like misery, pain, suffering, and checking your app to see if UMass scored, 20 points and is maybe pulling an upset, then go for it. But I do lean the over here. I think they're going to get much better QB play. I don't want to go out on a limb and say I'm excited to watch UMass because I'd probably rather take a sharp stick to one of my eye. I'm sorry.
Let's not get crazy here.
Listen, it's the MAC. We're fired up. We love the MAC. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple of crap teams there in the end that, couple bounces here and there. Yeah, if they went 3-9, wouldn't surprise me one bit. I'm gonna have a Pop Watson jersey by the end of the year if they get like 4. But yeah, I like what this team's bringing. If they stay healthy, I mean, obviously, if all their defenders get hurt again, we're looking at the same kind of stuff. But
is that
yeah,
Sacred
man,
Heart University.
I might be.
I mean,
and who's that other team?
I think they're replacing the College of St. Rose, who I guess went out of business last year.
Yeah, I don't even.
Yeah, they went down.
They're like Stonehill or something like. I don't even know what the hell we're talking about. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, they can get.
Any thoughts on UMass, Peter?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too excited about them, but I do think that they are quite interesting, right? I mean, I think for years independents really hurt this program, and now they have an identity, they have a home, they have a conference, and I think that's a very, very good thing for this program. So I do think that the infrastructure will be positive for them. I agree with Darren. I mean, it could be interesting to see them play. I think they're definitely an improving team and will continue to do so. So I think being in this conference will be a very good thing for UMass going forward. This year, yeah, I mean, if they can get the 4 wins, which I think they can, I mean, as I said, winning that second and third game, sure. So can they be either Akron or Bowling Green at the end? Quite possibly. And then I could see beating either one or both of those teams. So who knows? So 3 wins would be success. 4 wins would be outstanding. And I think overall for this team, just looking forward, this is a very good thing for them. So excited to see where they go with this program in the future and this year to see the improvement with it. So fun team to watch. The bright future, I think. We'll just see how it plays itself out in the near term.
Yeah.
Can I just share something with you guys here? So that Tim is correct. That is Sacred Heart in week 2. That is
Dr. Cox,
Stonehill.
the head coach.
That's Stonehill in week 3. I don't even know where that is, but I'm just telling you right now, if they're 2 and whatever, Wednesday, November 4th, mark your calendars. Home game against Ball State. That's where it's going to happen.
Ooh.
Yes.
5-unit play on UMass on November 4th.
Woo! We're going to hold you to that. Put that on the system.
Get your tickets ready. Keep a bottle of Pepto-Bismol.
Let me write this down.
If they only have 2 wins, of course. If they surpass it, then it's pointless. They're probably all drunk and not playing. But if they're
That's
2 and what would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 and 6, and that's their next. That's game 9. I'm telling you. Hear me now and believe me later, gentlemen.
Go.
That's where it's coming. Because Ball State's all ass.
All right.
Oh, I love that the MAC is back, baby. We're talking about.
We have to bring out the butt cheeks award for that game here. We got Miami of Ohio plus 650 to win the conference. So we're getting nitty gritty here. Plus, or actually, the over under is 7.5 wins on this one. Peter, we'll start with you with Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, always fun to talk about this team, right? Because I think they've quietly become one of the best run group of fine programs in the country. I mean, I think they're just a really good, well-run program. Chuck Martin's done a great job and deserves a ton of credit for what he's done there. Not a flashy football program. It's not what they are, but they're consistent. They're tough to play. They're relevant. They're competitive, which is good. And they have an identity, right? They carry an identity now, which a number of years ago they didn't have. So I think this is all very, very positive. The challenge with them this year, right, is replacing offensive production, right? Quarterback uncertainty. I think there's going to be a little bit of that in play. So I'm not sure where that goes. So that did kind of scare me away from them a little bit. So I don't dislike this team. I actually think they're a good team. I just don't know what to expect with just the turnover they're having. Love the coaching staff. Love the culture. Love everything else about it. Heck, they could very easily come out and win, 9 games. I think likely, 8 and 4 probably is somewhere in that range is where they'll land. But a team that I really do like, and week to week, I will definitely be betting on them. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we get into the season. But for a futures bet, there's too much uncertainty for me to touch them here, so I just stayed away. So those are my thoughts.
Darren.
Yeah, very little to add. He summed it up perfectly. And we touched on earlier those 5 teams that I think we all think that are 7-1 or less that can win that conference. And Pete said it, quarterback uncertainty. 4 of these teams have that, which is why my bet is on the one that doesn't. And that's huge. Yeah, he had mentioned the skill position issues. There's a Monmouth transfer, Rodney Nelson, who had 18 touchdowns and 1,800 yards rushing last year. I'm not sure how much more competitive the MAC is over whatever Monmouth had, but that's a guy to keep an eye on. He could thrive in this conference here. But yeah, he had mentioned quarterback. Yeah, the guy who's supposed to be your number 1 guy completed like 44% of his passes last year. That's certainly not promising. But like most of the good teams in the MAC, they're going to run the ball. And again, you got 4 returning stars on the O-line. That's exactly what they should do. Defensively, they lost their leading sack guy. He went to Texas Tech. But again, this head coach, Chuck Martin, I mean, he's a defensive dude. Whatever he's got to work with, somehow he makes it work. So even with only 3 returning starters, I am not worried about what this defense is going to look like. It just all comes down to the uncertainty at quarterback. You can't complete 44% of your passes, and win any conference, even this conference. But I do like the win total over here. Their road schedule's not terrible. It wouldn't surprise me if they give Pitt a game to start off on the road there. I'm not super high on Pitt this year. They go to Cincinnati for a non-conference game. They're not great. I don't know if they're going to win either of those games. Probably not, but I would expect them to be competitive. Yeah, this schedule's not terrible. I see DraftKings had 6.5 with some massive juice, but I would even take the 7.5 if there's some plus money on that. I do like this team, but the quarterback uncertainty is the one thing that's keeping me away.
Yeah, interesting. But I didn't want to touch this team at all. But it'll take us to our next team right here. We got Ohio plus 650 to win the conference. The over/under is 6.5 wins. Dan, we'll start with you, and then we'll get in. I got to play on this one.
I know you do, man. And I was discussing it with Pete because one of the things I love about this show and having three of us on it is a lot of the time we all kind of generally agree with what we say. But I like it better when we have some differing points of view because obviously we don't all read the same stuff. So if there's stuff that I'm missing or Pete's missing or Tim's missing, that's why I love when we talk about this. Hey, share with me your reasoning. Why are you doing this? Help the bettors. So if you're watching, we're probably one of the handful of shows you listen to get a bunch of different opinions. And was this not the program where the head coach was let go for, among other things, drinking on the job or drinking during the day while he was supposed to be working? And I just started thinking, bro, you got one of 138 jobs in America. I mean, you don't have to travel all over the country to recruit. You can stay right in your little state of Ohio for the most part. What's so bad that you have to drink? Then I kind of saw what this roster is bringing back, and I'm like, I'd be drinking also. So, and again, quarterback uncertainty here. You're bringing New Hampshire transfer kid in, Matt Vezza, to be your starting quarterback. We have no idea what we're gonna get out of him. Your backup running back returns, so that's certainly helpful. Your most productive wide receiver coming back only had 11 receptions, but then again, I mean, losing Parker Navarro is really, I think, going to hurt this team. Now, the defense I like. I really do like this defense. This is one of the few teams that brings a lot back on defense, which is nice for the top 5 tacklers coming back. But again, you have a great defense, and now your defensive coordinator got replaced. So now I can't say with certainty what this defense is going to look like, but if he keeps things as is, if he feels like he's got the personnel to do so, which with, the returning starters, he should, then I don't have any defensive questions. But that offense concerns me. We had mentioned before there's 138 teams in FBS. Offensive returning production, this team ranks 138th. So I just worry about if this defense is good, which I think it will be, are they going to be able to score enough to help? Now, the schedule is ass. I could, without giving away where Tim is going, I can see why he's going there because they don't freaking play anybody. So if they could get anything out of their offense, he's going to cash this with games to spare. But just a little. And again, quarterback uncertainty. I think 650 is too short. I don't think this team is going to play in the conference championship game. They just lose a lot on the offensive side of the ball, but they have probably one of the nicest schedules in the conference.
Peter.
Yeah, I mean, Darren kind of nailed it, right? I mean, generally, this is a team I like quite a bit. They're physical, they're disciplined, right? But we have a total coaching change over here because of the things Darren talked about. We've got quarterback uncertainty, so it's really hard to make a bet on a team with those things all kind of in flux. Now, generally, right, this team, as I mentioned, they're physical, they're disciplined, they're tough to beat at home, and somehow in November, they seem to get dangerous all of a sudden. At least they have in the past, which is concerning, right? So that's become their identity. That's kind of who they are. Now, will that carry over with the new coaching staff and all that? I don't know, right? But that's what it's been. So, but I think that the new coach has inherited a relatively healthy, at least there's some depth on this team. Yes, it's lacking in certain spots. The defense will be good. The offense is, who knows what we're going to get out of that. So we'll have to see what happens to the quarterback position and all of that. So I think that 6.5 is pretty fair, which is why I didn't touch it. It's like, could I see 6? Yep. Could I see 7? Yep. So nowhere for me to go there. So that's kind of where I sat. I was like, yeah, well, so I'll throw it back over to Tim.
I was going to say, and didn't these guys beat UNLV in a bowl game last year? UNLV was like a really good team. And Ohio took care of them. So I mean, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Tim, go ahead, man.
Yeah, well, I'm hanging my hat on the defense this year. Also, if you look at the schedule, their schedule compares a lot to like what I always say about with the Miami Hurricanes never leaving the state of Florida. These guys are not leaving the state of Ohio hardly at all. They have 3 road games out of the state. 2 of them are very winnable with, I think they're playing Sacramento and they're playing South Alabama. They're fighting Lopez's. So they have the 1 game at Nebraska. That's going to be tough. They get Toledo, Western Michigan. They're dealing with longer travel schedules, teams like that. Sleeping in your bed at night says a lot. They're going to be doing a lot of that this year. They're not going to have a lot of travel. They also get games at home. Toledo's coming there, I believe, Eastern and Central Michigan. So I like the over of 6.5. I bet 3 units on it, basically banking on the defense, the lack of travel, and with the games at home. And they got 2 very winnable road games. So, I mean, I just like the way everything is setting up. I wouldn't be surprised if they get 8 wins this year. So.
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa. I'll take that side bet. You want a little side bet? 7.5?
All right, sushi bet. What are we doing?
I mean, you're coming. I mean, you'll be up next summer again.
Oh, every summer I'm up there for the horses. You know that.
There you go. We'll come up with something.
But that's my pick. 3 units over 6.5 wins with Ohio. 3. I'm going 3. Yeah, I don't like the line, but that's why I went 3. I want to get something out of it. So
get the targeting winners wheelbarrow out to tote your balls from one room to the
next. All right, we're going up. Toledo plus 400 to win the MAC. The over-under is 7.5 wins. Darren, let's start with you.
Yeah, another team favored to compete that I am not a fan of. And again, this is maybe the second most stable QB situation, but I'm not sure how I feel about John Allen Richter. I guess he doesn't have the job officially, but he's probably the leading candidate. I do like the new head coaching hire. I mean, the dude's been coaching for 10 years, I think I read, and he's never had a losing season. The problem is he's bringing like 12.5 players from Mercer with him, so I'm not exactly sure how that's going to translate. Offensive line, again, only 1 starter returning. The defense doesn't have any returning starters, but again, we've got the Mercer Defensive Player of the Year, Andrew Zock, coming over. Returning production overall, 135th, which means only 3 teams are worse. This team is not going to be the top defense in the MAC this year. I'm sorry. The 7.5, though, does feel about right. I'm curious to see how they look at home against, was that South Dakota State? Why can I not? Oh, shit. Yeah, I can't read that. Or was that San Diego State? I think it was San Diego State.
San Diego State.
So that should be an interesting game. Yeah, I mean, the road game against Michigan State, I think they're going to get shellacked there. I kind of like Michigan State a little bit this year. Yeah, the win total seems about right. That number's way too short with their quarterback to win this conference. And again, they're just not bringing back anybody, and they're filling this roster with half the Mercer team. So I'm avoiding Toledo, but the 7.5 certainly seems correct.
Peter.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue, right? This is a team that's obviously got a coaching change going on here and some turnover, offensive issues. Defense has been solid, which I would expect to continue. This is a team that's generally relevant, dangerous, and they basically set the standard in this conference for some time, right? So I wouldn't expect that to change dramatically. So will they be in contention for the conference? I would expect them to be in contention unless that offense is just terrible, right? And I don't expect it to be that bad. I don't expect it to be good either, but serviceable, maybe. So I could see that. They do have one of the deepest rosters in this conference, which doesn't say much, but they do. So I think that 7.5, that number's about right. So I really didn't know where to go with that thing, so I just didn't. But I do think they could very well compete. It really comes down to what that offense is going to do, and I really don't know. So yeah, that's where I am.
Okay, we're going to move on here. I got a little technical difficulties here, but we're going to move on to Western Michigan. I think this is the final one here. We got their plus 325 to win the conference, over under 7.5 wins. We've been wondering when the hell you guys are going to make a play here on the conference. So we have to save the best for last up here. So let's start with.
Did you? I have a quick question. Did we forget Sacramento State? We're going.
Yeah, we did forget Sacramento State.
Or did you put them at the end?
No, I did not put them at the end. Did I skip right over them?
No,
we did.
No.
You know why? They don't have odds to win the conference. So when you probably put it together,
they probably were not there. So,
but you know what? We can do a quick Sacramento. We can do a quick Sacramento State thing because it's basically just their win total. So if you want us to knock that out real quick, we can.
Let's do that.
Well, sure. What is their win total?
Right. It is 4.5 juice to the over, which is ridiculous. This team is not winning. They're not winning 5 games, bro. We talked about North Dakota State and how I hate betting on these teams that come up here for their first year, although some do succeed. But man, I just don't see it here. I mean, only 3 returning starters for the entire team, and a lot of these transfers are FCS guys who just didn't play. You know, they're just looking for a chance to get out there and do something. Carson Conklin, who was a Fresno State transfer, is your QB, so I guess maybe there's something there. But your O-line isn't bringing back anybody who started for you last year. Yeah, a couple decent guys on the defense coming back, but
did he just freeze?
There's the tornado. Took out his house. Peter, what do you got on Sacramento State?
I'll just finish that for you. You can just put a big question mark on the slide because who knows what this team is going to do. We've got a California team entering the MAC. I don't know what to expect here. Can they sustain an entire FBS schedule? I have no idea. They're certainly not going to contend immediately or anything like that. Will they win 3 games, 4?
They're going to lose to Ohio, that's for sure.
That's for sure. So I don't know. I don't know how to price them. I wouldn't know how to price them. I don't think the books know how to price them. So I've stayed far away from them simply because it's so much of an unknown with this team. It'll be interesting to see what they do, but I really would not even bet on them at all because I don't know where they're going.
All right. Well, let's move on to Western Michigan.
Right.
We're waiting on
Tornado took them out.
They are plus 325 to win. The over-under is 7.5. And we're going to go with you, obviously. Your thoughts on Western Michigan?
Well, since Darren's currently in Oz and may not return, if anybody else wants to join a Targeting Winners podcast, please let us know. So we can pick up we have an open spot, as you can see. Western Michigan ultimately became my actual wager here for the MAC. I debated back and forth with Central and Western and all over the place, and we really like this conference, in case you haven't noticed. So, but I think this might be one of my favorite bets I found all summer. I think it's reasonably straightforward for me, and I think that DraftKings is really telling 2 stories, which is where I made this bet, by the way. So, one hand, right, Western Michigan is a conference favorite at plus 320. On the other hand, you know, I think that that win total is a little light, right? I think there's upside opportunity off that. So they don't really line up very well, which I think makes a lot of sense, especially because I think they probably will win this conference. And if they don't, they're certainly going to be in the conference championship game. They're certainly going to be contending because they're that good. We have, quarterback continuity. We have a really good coaching staff. So I think that what we do have here is a team that is built to win this conference this year with continuity, with their quarterback situation and all of that. So I really, really do like this team a lot. I like the returning players. I like the structure. I like the identity. I like everything about them. So and their schedule plays out really well for them as well in terms of making a run at this conference. So I am making a bet here. You can flip to the next slide. So over under is 7.5. I am going over 7.5 at plus 105 with 1 unit. I contemplated going more than 1 unit on this because I feel pretty comfortable with it. However, as Darren mentioned before, I'm trying to save some of my bets and not get overly futures bet before we would get to the Big Ten and the SEC. So I'm trying to hold myself back. So 1 unit over 7.5 plus 105. So that's my bet.
Okay, and we're waiting on Pete. There was a tornado going by near his house. He is okay. His internet, however, is not. He did place the bet. He has Western Michigan. He went one step further than you. He thinks they're going to win the MAC.
Yeah.
So he's got 1/2 unit at plus 310 for them to win the MAC outright. So we got that going on there for us. Peter, any final thoughts as we head out?
No, as we said. Right, MAC. This conference is fun, and especially as we get the MAC action that we get and on the weekday nights coming up is a lot of fun in the season. A lot of close games that run the ball, fun to watch. I mean, so if you don't watch a lot of MAC football, you should definitely tune in for some of these games, especially because there are 4 or 5 teams that definitely could win this conference when they're playing each other or playing. You should definitely tune in and watch some of these games because it is a fun conference to watch. Yeah. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, they get us through the week. They play an important part of our fall. So without the Mac, what would we do? What would we do on Thursday nights and Wednesday nights without the Mac? So
I don't know. Bet on something.
yeah, I don't even know. Well, let's run through our bets. Okay, I've got Ohio over 6.5 wins with 3 units. Darren has Western Michigan to win the MAC outright at plus 310. And Peter, he's got the over. What's the juice on your over bet there? Over 7.5 wins.
Plus
Is that plus 105.
Yes, sir.
All right, those are our plays. So for Darren, this is Tim and Peter signing off. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening wherever you can find your podcasts. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe, and we will see you next week.